Hello everybody, my name's Karen Fire and welcome to Conan Exiles. Today we're going to be trying out and having a look at Fatalities, a brand new and very gruesome system added to the game, which is a lot of fun. And we're going to be checking out all the different weapons and their unique fatalities today. First, we are checking out the Warx, my personal favourite weapon in Conan Exiles out of all of them. And this thing is brutal! So with fatalities, I will tell you that you do need to do a certain thing to get them to trigger, because if you just go about them the normal way, they will not trigger. So when you get them dazed, you step back instead of continue attacking them, and then you attack them after that, because otherwise you'll just kill them normally. So you have to allow room for that to happen. And as you can see, it's brutal every time. You're literally chopping people's heads off. So very Conan, I guess. Next up is the Great Warx, and I'll be honest with you guys, it is probably the toughest weapon I had to get these fatalities to trigger with. I don't know if it was just RNGesus for me, but I had a hard time getting it to work. But once I got it to work, it was gruesome. Oh my goodness, you just fully chop down on top of the head and go to town. This thing is absolutely brutal when it comes to these fatalities. I think they did such a good job on these, honestly. They are very, very brutalistic. You get that splash down the bottom as well when you do these fatalities. As you saw just then, I did it too quick, so I missed out on doing the fatality. So that's why it's important to wait a bit of time and then do it. Like, step back and then do the fatality instead of going straight at it. Great sword! This one's pretty cool, so let's have a look into it. I know a lot of people are a big fan of the great sword, and we're going to be trying to pull off a nice fatality today with it. Ooh. So let's let the rivers run and get it in the bum, or the face, or the head. You just chop the head straight off with this one again. This one's another head chopper, so yeah, that's a thing, I suppose. I'll try to get all the angles as well for you guys, like top-down angles, side angles, so you know exactly what's kind of happening with these, so you get a good idea on how these look and how your favorite weapon's going to look when you're performing these real time in the game itself. This one's a clean cutter though, oh my goodness. Next we got the hammer, which is one of the brutalist ones. Honestly, hammer and daggers are something else, okay? This one though, I would not want to go down this way ever. It looks like a terrible way to die. Like, no way would I want this to happen to me, like, ever. It is very, very gory. It's very, very gory. But it's very appropriate for the hammer as well, I think. You know, it fits the style of the weapon you are using 100%. So hammer users are going to have a lot of fun with this one, I think. Smashing up the people on the floor like a watermelon. That's just going to be like how it goes, like. Next we got the mace, which I wasn't sure how this one was going to turn out when I first equipped it, because the other ones kind of made sense, you know, watermelon crushing ones and head chopping ones. But what about the mace, because it's not sharp like that? Well, with the mace you just brutalize your enemy instead, and then you still just bat their head like a baseball bat. So yeah, I don't think that makes it much better. That is a brutal way to go as well. Big blunt heavy object. You might as well hit a home run with one of these. You're going to be hitting really hard. So yeah, mace users living up to their brutal nature, the double chop, and then the home run slam at the end. It is pretty crazy out there. Definitely a very cool fatality. But let's be honest, all of these are cool, and we welcome in the spear as our next contender for looking at the fatalities. Now this one's really interesting because it's quite different from the rest of the lot, where you usually be slicing and chopping off heads. This time you're just stabbing people down into the ground with your spear. Which I had a really unfortunate one of these, to be honest, because I spiked one down in the crotch, and yeah, he died by crotch spike. I would definitely not want to go that way. I mean, I would definitely not want to go any of these ways that is happening here today, but you could get some interesting positioning with the spear, I can tell you that. It's probably one of the longest fatality animations as well, it does feel. So that's another thing to bear in mind if you're a spear user. Next up, we have the sword. The nice classical weapon right there. With this one, this is really cool. So you pretty much just jab up into their skull, through their mouth, like through the chin, into their mouth, through their nose, into their eyes, you know, that type of deal. You're hitting the whole front end. That's gotta hurt. That's gotta hurt real bad. But yeah, the sword is quick, cunning, and it will definitely get down them pesky NPCs. You will assassinate them very quickly. I mean, hell of a way to die. Definitely would want to be me, which is pretty much every one of these every time. But yeah, your cape is definitely not going to be clean after any of these executions at all. You're going to be a very messy exile. You're going to need to go down to the Conan laundrette afterwards. Clean off your cape, because you're going to be getting a lot of jam everywhere, all over, with these bloody fatalities. Now I'm going to keep this short because this is a short sword, no pun intended, or maybe there is, but pretty much here. For this one, it works exactly like the sword. It's not that much different. It does the same thing as the sword, so I thought I'd include like a couple of clips here, but the animations are the same between sword and short sword. Next up is the daggers. You're going to be a sleek assassin, but maybe not so sneaky this time around. This time you're going straight for the throat in a very gory and brutal way, just hitting off their entire head with these. Now, the only problem with daggers when it comes to fatalities, and I don't know if they have this fixed by the official version, but I can only really use light attacks to get these to work, because anything that causes like bleeding effects or anything like that will basically make it so you can't ever really fatality them. Because when you fatality, you have to take a step back and then do the fatality. So that period of time where they get the 1 tick damage kills them off. So you can't perform the fatality, which sucks. So with this, I had to use light attacks to achieve these. There's only been like one time I've been able to achieve a heavy attack with them, and that's when I used it sparingly at the start, so the bleed went off by the end. So that's the thing with this one. And then we're gonna head on to our last one. As the last bit special, we'll be using the Worldwind Blades because I know people were asking about them in the stream, and I wanted to show you if there is any difference with these. So we're just gonna go straight into it. We're gonna find some people to chop and hopefully get a nice, you know, ability out of it as well. I think they might be a bit like the daggers though. We will have to see. Oh, here we go. First one. Yeah. That is brutal, dude. I think that is exactly like the daggers. Oh, no, they do a kick. Okay, there is a unique one. I think it might be the same with Havoc and Malice, having the dual swords or axes. But still, this is epic, dude. Oh, it's so Conan, which feels so epic. I mean, it's really brutal. Really, really brutal. But it feels very Conan because it always has been brutal, you know what I mean? And let's have a look at that. Oh my goodness. That is so crazy, dude. Oh my goodness gracious me. I'm definitely enjoying this new system though. It is crazy of a system. They have done such a good job on it, and I don't know if you guys... Oh my gosh, it's still going. I don't know if you guys will still notice, but despite if I do a fatality or not, they do seem to have like a different blood effect as well on some of them. I'll have to see if I can get it to trigger on like dry land. Oh, he wants to be a fatality. I will say as well with fatalities, you have to kind of wait a little bit and then hit them with the fatality, otherwise you won't do it properly, so you have to kind of roll back, then go for it and just, oh my goodness. But yes, to answer your questions, these definitely do work. So that is super cool. Awesome stuff. It doesn't seem to be working for any ranged combat yet, which I think would be really cool. Don't know how they would make sense of it, but I think that would be pretty epic. But those are all the fatalities, so I hope you've enjoyed the video and seeing all the different ones and what you can do with them. Enjoy playing with them in game, I know I will be, and have a gory time. Anyway, thank you for watching, I love you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye!